So we now get underway with the next race. It is Minimax, the pre-final. So Mick Klinkers took pole position in time qualifying yesterday ahead of Gage Moyes. Tiger Holthausen and the highest rookie driver, Tren van Melk, round out the top two rows. Conor Halfer quickly switching from his Micromax into his Minimax. Starts on the inside of row number 3, joined by Yara Kivitsbosch. Sasha Al-Jabran and Dimitar Lazarov round out row 4, with Leon Herbos and Pelle van Echtelt rounding out the top 10. What a mix there in terms of rookies. 60% rookies in that qualifying session, in what was a very, very close qualifying session. So, Julian Dimmer, Lennart Koester, row 6. Dejan Habits and Lawrence van Vlaanderen, row 7. Klaus Hans and Mika Vonk, row 8. Niki Naruhito Tomasi and Max van der Meer round out the top 9 rows, with Stavros Sotos Francia, Milano Shiphorst completing the top 20. Noah Stayhadder and Julius Cabal, row 11. Didi Dadala and Tim Hansler, row 12. Jim Dannon and Levi Phillips, row 13. Mathis Verreken and Maximilien Paton round out the top 14 rows. 15th and final row completed by Dan Hillen and Matthias Clever. Dan Hillen not having set a lap time in time qualifying yesterday. Unable to make it onto the pre-grid in time. So thereby it meant that, well, Matthias Clever, post-qualifying, so Tim Hansler received an official warning. Matthias Clever was given a was given a start from the back notification because of being underweight by less than a kilo. 3-place grid penalty was given to Lawrence van Vlaanderen for a bumper being in the wrong position. As the drivers make their way through the final corner into the tram lines, revs rise, lights are on, lights are out first time. Good start by the front row of Klinkers and Moyes. Klinkers now having moved to Bouvin Power as they struggle their way through. 4-5 abreast at the back end of the field. The driver is able to use the runoff area off of turn 2 for the first time. 2-3 wide just outside of the bottom part of the top 10. Look at the scramble coming through into turn 6 at the Europlan for the first time. Oh, and one dive bombs and causes a little bit of a domino effect. That was at the mid-pack. One driver at the back end of the field. That is the 143 of Dan Hillen, who has been left high and dry a little bit. But the top 3, Gage Moyes looking for the move on Mick Klinkers and gets it through at turn number 8. Great work there by the 134. But Tiger Holthausen running in P3. Conor Halfer looks to be in 4th at the moment, ahead of Tren van Melk. So through into turn number 11 they go. 9 minutes and 8 seconds plus an additional lap. Very frantic amount of activity here in this opening tour. Side by side between 2 carts, that one of which was Conor Halfer. The other one which was, I think, Tren van Melk, and van Melk got through. And Conor Halfer has dropped down into 6th position, I think behind Julian Dummer of all people, as they come out of turn number 3 into turn 4 through into 5. Look at the line of carts. Qualifying was incredibly interesting to watch because the drivers were, in some respects, not even a couple of thousandths of a second apart in terms of lap time in full qualifying pace. A little bit of a scurry on. Tren van Melk trying to get through on Julian Dummer, and there's one driver that's just lost a couple of positions. One going round the outside at turn number 8. You don't see that very often. As they come out of turn 9, down into Cafe Corner, just by the tribune on the grandstand. And the top 3 drivers, well, Mick Klinkers has got back through on Gage Moyes in the meantime, but do not think for one iota that Gage Moyes is going to let that lie. He's not going to. He's going to keep on going for it. Will be in the slipstream across the start-finish straight and is bump drafting across the line. So Mick Klinkers 7/100ths ahead of Gage Moyes. Tiger Holthausen a further 2/10 back. Gage Moyes looking everywhere, every which way but loose at the moment, to try and see if he can get past once again Mick Klinkers in the 104. So OTK versus Birlart at the front end of the field. And Tiger Holthausen running at the top 3. 4th, it's Yara Kivitsbosch, who's made up 2 spots. Conor Halfer back down to 5th, ahead of Leon Herbos. Niki Naruhito Tomasi, however, The 125 has made up an obscene amount of places in the opening 2 laps. 9 places gained so far by the 125. Mick Klinker's fastest lap of the race so far, 1 minute .539 by the 104. Dive for second place. Holthausen on Moyes through turn number 12. And this is going to bring in Jara Kiewiczbosch in the meantime. Kiewiczbosch might have the run. Oh, someone kicked up the dirt a little bit further back. I think it was possibly Klaus Hans from GKS in the 169. Just caught that out of my line of sight. So the most fractional of moments. So at this point, Mick Klinker's starting to build a little bit of an advantage over the Maranello chassis of Tygo Holthausen. Cage Moyes looking over the right shoulder, not once, not twice. I think 3 quick glances over the right shoulder down the Europalan, as there is Jara Kiewiczbosch in the 132, right up the rear bumper, running on the Energy Corsa chassis. Energy Corsa at one point ran, if people might remember, Robert de Haan back in the day. Now these days running in Porsche Mobil 1 Super Cup, part of the support bill for the for Formula 1. So 30 drivers still running. Pelle van Eshtel, it's been a difficult one for the 142, has dropped all the way down to 30th. So there is a 3-second time penalty going to the 128. Sasha Al-Jabrail. Fastest lap of the race set by Tygo Holthausen on lap number 4, 60.064 seconds. So one driver might be able to get underneath the 60-second bracket in this race alone. Humidity has gone up to 40%. Still a north-northwesterly wind of an increase now by 1 kilometre an hour of 17 kph. That's about 11 miles an hour. Still no cloud cover as far as the eye can see in the local vicinity above the circuit here at Karting Genk. We're nearly halfway through this race as things stand. Jim Darnan up 13 places from 25th on the grid, now runs P12. Didi Dadale up 10 places from 23rd on the grid. Matthias Verreken up 10 places from 27th. So Laurens van Vlaanderen and Klaus Hans have tumbled all the way down to 29th and 30th respectively. Mick Klinker's leads, head of Tygo Holthausen. Cage Moyes, Jara Kiewiczbosch rounding up the top 4 at the moment. They were covered by 9/10 of a second across the line, but it was probably just over 4/10 between 2nd, 3rd and 4th after lap 5 was completed. Up the inside of Cage Moyes. Oh, 3 wide coming out of the turn 6 onto the Europalan, and Holthausen misses out. This could be the opportunity at a tangle between Moyes and Kiewiczbosch. A bit of a hip check between the pair, and Kiewiczbosch goes sideways. Moyes goes through. Lennart Kerster now up to 9th, head of Julian Dimmer. Didi Dadale now down from 13th. And his 16th, Ian Habits down from 18th, now 21st. Maximilien Paton has done a pretty good job, up 5 spots at the moment. Dan Hillen has dropped all the way down to 26th, and it looks like our first retiree is going to be the 113 of Matthias Clever, representing both Belgium and Brazil. So I know the family is watching at the minute. So a difficult first race of the day for Matthias Clever, one of the rookies. Still, this race has got that air of unpredictability about it, as well as we've got 2 going side by side, wheel to wheel, into turn number 10, and one makes the move stick. That was a brilliant move by, I think it was Leon Herbose, more than likely, 198. Mick Klinkers has broken underneath 60 seconds in this race. 59.756, and the remainder of the top 6. So, Cage Moyes, Tygo Holthausen, Jara Kiewiczbosch, Conor Haufer, and Leon Herbose have all broken under 60 seconds. So has the likes of Jim Darnan, Stavros Soteros Francia, and Tim Hansler. Laurens van Vlaanderen has just put in a 59.9, runs all the way down in 28th position. So we have had 2 retirees, Dan Hillen and Matthias Clever, early doors after Well, Matthias Clever after lap, pretty much on the end of lap 5. Dan Hillen has dropped all the way down to 29th. Still circulating at the moment, has a couple of seconds of ground to make up to the carts in front, but that can be easier said than done. 2 minutes, 10 seconds, plus 2 additional laps to go. And can Mick Clinkers put in another fastest lap of the race? The gap last time between first and second was 1.2 seconds. It will now expand, but by how much? Just a tenth, 0.1 of a second between Mick Clinkers and Cage Moyes. Another new fastest lap by Mick Clinkers, 59.612. So great battle here between Tiger Holthausen and Yada Kiewiczbosch, just in front of them Cage Moyes. It's been a difficult race for Dimitar Lazarov, I hate to report. 199 from Germany started on the outside of row number 4 and is running last at the minute in 29th position. Only one retiree so far. But we are now on to what I would consider pretty much nearly our second from last lap. This battle here. It's Conor Halfer versus Leon Herboz and Sven van Melk. And Leon Herboz ends up dropping behind Van Melk, behind Halfer. So there's still plenty of, well, there's not that much opportunity. There's this plus, will be, I'm sure, another 2 laps. We're counting down from 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 2 more laps to go. So Sasha Al-Jabrail, 3-second time penalty, 2 wheels outside the corridor during the start procedure. As here go the likes of Ted Van Melk, and I think, who's that behind? There's a little bit of deviation. It might be between Conor Halfer, Trent Van Melk and Leon Herboz at the minute. And that is the 198 of Herboz, and is ahead of, must be Conor Halfer. Next time round, we'll get the last lap board for this particular race. Driver 127 has received a 3-second time penalty, Max van der Meer, for unsportsmanlike driving conduct on circuit. So the last lap is underway, and Mick Clinkers has pulled away to the tune of nearly 1.5 seconds. Setfield makes his way down the backstretch at the Yudaplan once again. But it has been a pretty straightforward drive at the front end of the field. 104 of Mick Clinkers comes out of turn number 11. And for the 12th and final corner, so checkered flag waves. Mick Clinkers takes the win ahead of Cage Moyes by nearly 1.6 seconds. Yada Kiewiczbosch, good work there by the 132. Started 7th, finishes P4. We'll make that P3, because obviously the penalty's now being applied. So Tiger Holthausen, P4, Trent Van Melk, Leon Herboz, Conor Halfer, Niki Naruhito Tomasi, Didi Didali, Sasha Al-Jabrail. They complete your top 10. So provisional results. Mick Clinkers takes the win by just under 1.6 seconds ahead of Gage Moyes, Jada Kiewicz-Bosch, Togo Holthausen, Tren van Melk. The latter being the last of the highest classified rookie side of things. Tren van Melk, Leon Herbos, Conor Haufer, Niki Naruhito Tomasi, Didi Didale and Sasha Al-Jabbar. Didale made up a whopping 14 places. So Julian Dummer, Matthias Verreken, Mika Vonk, Julius Grabau and Noah Steyhouder round out the top 15. Rein van der Meer, Klaus Hans, Stavros Socios Francia, Milano Shiphorst, Tim Hansler, Dejan Habits, Maximilien Paton, Laurens van Vlaanderen et al. After that one.